This is why it's important that we clearly define and explain and grasp and understand what the gospel actually is. Because there's so many things in our world and our society today that are being called the gospel that if you follow them and put your faith and trust in them will lead to your destruction rather than the outcome you're hoping for. Number one, the false gospel of all roads lead to God. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. I know Oprah's really inspiring, but when she tells you all paths lead to God, she's lying to you. Second false gospel I want to point out today is the gospel of be a good person so you can go to heaven. And it's a lie that will damn you because your good works can never be good enough to pay for your sin, because as we're going to see in Romans chapter 3, that the payment for sin, the wages of sin is death. Our trust, our confidence, our hope is in the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross. And the only thing we bring to our salvation is faith in what he did and repentance from what we have done. The third that I want to point out is the false gospel of follow Jesus, have enough faith, think enough positive thoughts, confess enough positive confessions, and God will keep you rich and healthy. This is the heart of the evil of the prosperity gospel. It is that follow Jesus so he can do all this other stuff for you. Another reason that we know this gospel is false is what we read earlier about the Apostle Paul from 2 Corinthians 11, where he said, yeah, I was beaten with rods 3 times, and I was stoned once, and I was shipwrecked, and all of that stuff. So apparently Paul didn't know the truth that he wasn't supposed to be experiencing those things. Or maybe he didn't have enough faith to make sure that those things didn't happen. Might I remind you also in Philippians 4, what we mentioned already, that Paul said, whether I've been rich or poor, I've learned in whatever state I am in to be content. He didn't say, when I've been poor, I stand on my scriptures and I declare that I'm rich, wealthy, and prosperous. And finally, the fifth false gospel I want to point out is the gospel of mysticism. But the idea that you just look internally, the answers are in you, and if you could just discover who you really are and become one with the universe, then you'll find enlightenment and truth and fulfillment and meaning and happiness. False gospel. We must return to the true gospel, a gospel that proclaims a great and holy God.